He was very protective, very adoring, very watchful, and you know, I knew that I knew that I was loved. There's no question about that. It's not something that is easy to come by, obviously, but it was very apparent to me, and it was very mutual. I was in his bathroom upstairs at Graceland, and he caught me. I think I was lip syncing in the mirror. I think I was 2. Not so necessarily aware of who he was, but just in my own world, singing with the microphone in front of the mirror. And anyway, I'm sure he got a huge kick out of it, and I don't know how long he was actually watching me, but never embarrassed me, never said anything. And then I think he was getting other people to come watch as well. The only person who could get me in the bathtub was my father. He's the one that would have to actually put me in and make me. I wouldn't argue with him, ever. There was no schedule, there was no time at Graceland, no rules. It was almost like this fun house that no matter what you did, no matter what you destroyed, no matter what you threw, no matter what broke, it would somehow miraculously get replaced within 24 hours. And it was quite the lively home. The basement was always a room, for whatever reason, for mayhem. And I would transform when I would go down the stairs, and I don't know why, just throwing things down there and, you know, getting into trouble. And he would do similar things down there. He'd get, like, you know, mischievous, as always. My father decided to give me a pony. She was very small, so he put me on her outside, and then he takes her and through the back door and in the house. He was worried that Dodger, the grandmother, was going to hear this and was going to freak out. And all of a sudden, the horse decides to, you know, relieve himself, and not in a pretty way, on the carpet. Everyone had horses and golf carts. One person would get on, and then everyone would get on, and then it would be like, you know, like a convoy of golf carts. It was always crazy. I also led the convoy when I got old enough to hit the pedal. I had about 5 friends up there, and then some cousins. So we'd all sort of congregate when I'd come to town, and everyone would get a golf cart, which was a nightmare. I fired people, yeah. Apparently I did. I could decapitate a golf cart. I could take the hood off by running under a tree. I could go through the fence and it would get fixed within 3 days. If it wasn't me, you know, running the golf cart through a tree or through the forest or through a fence, it was my father. He would rent out Liberty Land, and we'd stay there all night riding roller coasters over and over and over and over all night long. The roller coaster would go up to the highest point, and then he would get out of it and make everybody panic, thinking that he fell off. He would be sitting somewhere on the roller coaster. When you'd get in a car with him when he was behind the wheel, this could be your last minute. Same thing with the plane. All of a sudden, the captain would come on out and please fasten your seatbelt, because he was going to land the plane. And it was just like everybody would stick their head between their knees, hide or something, you know, bury themselves in the sea. It was just like one of those, oh, good God moments. He always liked the danger. He loved Hawaii. He did some Hawaiian songs. He loved the Hawaiian people. He loved Hawaii. And I never actually put it together, but I kind of had the same thing happen when I was, I think, 18. My mom made me go. And ever since then, I've just had this thing where I've gone back every year. I wrote a lot of poetry, starting off very dark, and I said to him, please, you're not going to die, or you don't die. I didn't know then what was going on, so I wish I had. You know, I didn't have any clue what was really happening. I just thought, he's not happy, my God, what's going on? And he was, you know, I remember seeing his stomach and worried to death over that. It hurts me. There were several times where I would just feel worried and go check on him, and I'd find him in these bad states out of nowhere. He would just start falling, and I'd have to go run and catch him, and he was about 6'2" and quite heavy, and I'm holding him up. It was just starting to become too common. He was not happy. He was in such an ivory tower and so untouchable and so alienated after a while. He held the reins on the cart for as long as he could, and then he could no longer withstand that. It's not easy. I don't know a lot of people that have pulled it off, that haven't gone to self-destruction. I don't like talking about this. It was August 16th. At 4 a.m., I was supposed to be asleep, actually. And he found me and, you know, go to bed. And I said, okay, and I think he kissed me goodnight, and I ran off, and he had come in and kissed me goodnight after that. That was the last time I saw him alive. His body was in the house for 3 days, and there was something very oddly comforting about that, which made it not necessarily real for me. as I stayed in there with it almost the whole time. We can stop.